Despite having an umbrella, Christopher's jacket was getting soaked from the rain. "Have a good day at school, you guys," he said to his two kids. He squeezed his son Noah on the shoulder. He adjusted his umbrella and quickly bent to kiss his daughter Riley on the forehead. He watched long enough to see his kids enter the school doors and then turned toward his car. After his wife had died, he tried hard to meet the needs of his kids and to ensure that they didn't suffer too much after their mother's untimely death. He was a bit worried when he had to relocate for work, but he was relieved that his kids had adjusted to life here. Noah was in junior league and had a new friend, and Riley found her group as well. Christopher started to cut across the small driveway which led to the parking lot area. He stopped abruptly when he saw a car barreling down the small road. The rain came down hard, and the driver likely had poor visibility. A moment later, a woman appeared beside him. Her head was bent as she stared intently at her phone. In her distraction, she took a step forward. Christopher didn't have time to think. He reached over and grabbed her arm, yanking her back. She let out a shriek as the force of the pull caused her body to slam into his. "Are you all right?" he asked roughly. The woman looked at the car that had just passed. "I'm fine," she said, her voice sounding shaky. Her face was pale. She pocketed her phone, dashed across the road to the parked car, and drove off. The strange woman crossed Christopher's mind a few times over the next week, but he soon forgot about her, since his kids and work occupied him. On Noah's first baseball game, Christopher drove him to the ballpark. The excitement was high in the car. When they finally arrived at the field, Noah flagged down his friend who waited with his mother. As he and Riley approached the trio, the woman turned. Somehow she seemed familiar, but then he understood why. She was the woman he saved several weeks ago. Her eyes flew to his face, and she seemed to recognize him the same moment he did. "I know you," she said. She then recovered herself. "I'm Heather, by the way. I never got to thank you the other day. You pretty much saved my life." "It was nothing," he said. They started to head towards the stands. Since the game had yet to start, they began to converse. "Was Noah's mom unable to make the game?" she asked. "Our mother died," Riley interjected. "Oh," Heather said, looking horrified. Her gaze shot to him. "I'm sorry for your loss." "I'm sorry too," he said. "Molly died 4 years ago." The awkwardness was broken when Riley saw a friend and asked to sit with her. When Christopher gave his consent, his daughter took off. He started with the usual small talk, but he discovered that it was easy to speak with Heather. Somehow it felt as if he'd known her for a long time. She revealed that she was David's aunt and was in the middle of a custody battle with her sister. "Let's just say my sister and her partner are unfit parents," she frowned. "Unfortunately, the day I met you was also the day my sister decided to challenge the adoption." Heather was about to say more, but then the game started. The two of them shifted gears and began clapping and stomping their feet whenever their team was ahead. Christopher was proud of his son. His boy had come a long way, and if he continued to work at it, he had a good chance of entering the major leagues. Christopher held his breath when Noah was at bat, and when his son hit a home run, he shot out of his seat. "We won!" he shouted. In his excitement, he grabbed Heather and kissed her. He immediately realized his blunder. "I'm sorry," he started to say. But Heather sent him a sweet smile and continued to clap and cheer as Noah slid into home base. After the victorious win, their two families became closer. The boys regularly went to each other's houses for sleepovers, and their families frequently had barbecues and dinner parties. Heather also invited them to family movie nights at her place. One day after dinner, Riley asked Heather, "Will you and David come to Mom's birthday party?" Heather looked at Christopher, a questioning look in her eyes. We celebrate her birthday every year, he said, shrugging. Well, in that case, we'd love to come, she said. On the scheduled day, Heather and David arrived at the gathering. They ordered pizza, and afterwards the kids ran off to Noah's room to play video games. Christopher and Heather retired to the living room. Everyone was relaxed, and she was engaged in recounting a funny childhood incident. She started to laugh, but then she stopped. "What?" she asked. "I can't help thinking that you're beautiful," he said. His gaze dropped to her lips. "I want to kiss you." "Okay," she said softly. She swayed forward, and their lips met. Her lips were warm, and she tasted like strawberries. He pulled her closer and deepened their kiss. Heather was equally affected by the kiss, and she threaded her fingers through his hair and let out a small moan. He started to shift positions when his eyes suddenly fell on a picture of his late wife hanging on the wall. All of a sudden, the sensation he felt earlier died, and guilt took over. Molly was the love of his life. What was he doing with another woman? Christopher pulled away from Heather. "I'm sorry. I can't do this," he said. She looked disappointed and confused. "I guess we should leave," she said. He nodded, but he was unable to look her in the eyes. After they left, he went to his room and closed the door. He didn't know how long he was sitting in the dark when the door to his room opened. Both of his kids peeked in. "Are you all right, Dad?" Noah asked. "Yeah," he said, his voice a bit muffled. His kids entered the room and sat beside him. "Daddy, I don't like to see you sad," Riley said. "Yeah, you were so happy when you were talking with Heather," Noah added. "I'm fine, really," he said, making his tone sound cheerful. "You guys get ready for bed." After his kids left, he walked over to his bedside table and picked up the picture of him and Molly. In the 14 years they were together, they were very happy, but then in a blink of an eye, she was gone. He never thought he'd be happy again until Heather showed up. He was finally able to laugh and enjoy life again. And as he spent more time with her, his feelings only grew. Should he continue to be miserable and mourn Molly's death? Or could he be happy once again with Heather? Christopher looked at his smiling wife and traced his fingers over her pretty profile. Somehow he knew that she'd want him to choose happiness. She would have told him that even if he fell in love with Heather, it wasn't as if he would lose his love for her. He knew he would always love Molly, but he could love Heather too in a different way. By the next evening, Christopher understood what he had to do next. He filled his kids in with a plan, and they got to work. They then drove to Heather's place, and Noah went to ring the doorbell. He ran back, and the three of them stood on the lawn, holding up a big sign. A few minutes later, the door opened, and Heather stood at the doorstep. Her hands flew to her mouth as she saw the sign that said, "Please give us another chance." Christopher walked up to her and took her hands. "After Molly died, I didn't think I could ever love again," he said. "But then I met you. You brought fun and laughter into my life, and it was something that I didn't know I was missing." He fell silent, but he held her gaze. "I'm sorry I pushed you away the other night, Heather. I hope you give us, another chance." She reached up and caressed his face. "Yes," she said, "I will." She then wrapped her arms around his neck and pressed her lips to his. In the background, their kids cheered and stomped their feet. What did you guys think of the story? Please comment in the comment section below. I can't wait to read your answers and discussions. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest stories to warm your heart. Until next time, bye.